So, good evening, everybody. If you are watching on the replay, good whatever it is for you. Morning, good afternoon, good night, anything. I don't know. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching on the YouTube replay, the Facebook replay, the LinkedIn replay, the Twitter replay, you can see me. If you're watching on, no, not if you're watching, if you're listening to the Ads on This TV audio experience, I will have just said in the intro to the podcast version of this live stream, sorry for not putting a podcast out for a couple of weeks, but it's been mental. It's been crazy. I wasn't here last week. I don't think I was here. Was I here the week before for a Facebook Live? I got a feeling I might have been interviewing Emmy-winning casting director Daniel Edwards for an Acts on This podcast that night, so I couldn't do a live call. But it's good to be back. Thank you so much for joining me. All you folk who are on Facebook who are joining me live really means the world. We're going to be hanging out between now and 10 p.m. tonight, talking all things Acts on This, all things Acts in industry, all things your questions, just whatever you want. Oh, and it looks like Facebook's doing dodgy things with the internet. Let me know if I'm still connected. Those people on the replay, it won't be affected by this. But I just noticed Facebook gave me an alert there to go that there's something wrong with the frame rate. But I think we're probably back on. Let me know in the Facebook chat if we are back on. So where do we start? Yeah, I've got loads of stuff to talk about tonight. I'm gonna probably start by recapping on two features on ActsOnThis.tv that we've recorded in the last couple of weeks that if you haven't seen yet, I absolutely urge you to get stuck into this week if you can. And even if you have seen them, I'm going to play bits out again just to sort of like hammer home some really salient points from those interviews with two incredible casting directors. If I go over to ActsOnThis.tv now and just share the website with you. Those on the audio experience, sorry you won't see this, but I'm going over to ActsOnThis.tv. I'm clicking into the preview features section, and I'm just going to just show you guys what's happened if you've not been around the community a couple of weeks. Last week, when was it? Tuesday, we had an incredible casting director Zoom call for our members with Victor Jenkins, one of the biggest TV casting directors in the game. It was a 90-minute chat that I hope, if you were there, let me know in the chat, by the way. Hope everybody found really, really inspiring. Victor's literally working at the top of the game. He casts everything from like ITV's Unforgotten, BBC One's Sherwood. That's just been nominated for some great awards. ITV's upcoming drama, The Long Shadow, Sky's brand new upcoming drama, Django. Victor's been around the industry such a long time, casting things back in the day like Broadchurch, Fleabag. He's just an incredibly talented guy, but also really, really supportive of actors. And this whole session was ultimately about landing auditions with Victor and his team whilst, and it says in the title there, whilst looking after yourself. Because I just don't think, again, so I know it's hammered home a lot, like, you've really got to look after yourself in this industry and mental health's really important, but still, I think if you're not really conscious about it, you can't you just go too hard in this industry, just obsess, and before you know it, you're burning out. We don't want that in 2023. I definitely did that in 2021. I learnt my lesson. I think I had a much more productive and less stressful 2022, but I'm being really conscious in 2023 to really look after myself physically, mentally, while still having huge output in the industry, and still attacking things, really in a conscious way, but also knowing when to step back. Part of that is getting just super simple things like getting my 10,000 steps in a day, and drinking 3 liters of water a day. Like simple things, but honestly, they make a really big difference to your life. So that session with Victor, ultimately was all about that, and just all about really just landing TV auditions this year with Victor and his team. If you haven't already, I'm going to play out just a little trailer, just only 2 minutes of what you missed, and then we'll talk about it. And I've got one other piece of footage that I wanted to show you. That was a question that came up that I don't think we've really answered very often, or I don't think we've answered it at all in 12 years probably of these sessions that I do for members. So we'll have a look at that in a second as well. But here's a little bit of what you missed if you weren't there. Responsible for casting some massive TV hits like ITV's Unforgotten, BBC One's Sherwood, upcoming ITV drama The Long Shadow, and upcoming Sky drama Django. It's casting director Victor Jenkins back in the house after 2 years. Victor, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good indeed. Thanks for having me back.
Django, one of Victor's new shows, 10 eps, Sky original.
Where are you running from, stranger?
I'm looking for someone. Now go ahead and tell these fine people your name. Django.
I had a really good experience working on that show. Francesca Comencini, amazing director.
I just feel everyone should do the research on these people. Could you just give us a couple of minutes on each person in the office and sort of like, what they do and why people would want to reach out to them?
Anna and Pashali are basically your initial points of contact. They'll be the ones who will be doing tapes. They'll be the ones who are downloading, uploading, all that kind of stuff.
If you were an actor, Victor, how would you get on your own radar right now?
Always email. Keep it simple. Give us what we need to see, which show reel or just your CV or what you're up to right now.
For people going at the room again for maybe the first time, like, how are you putting them at ease and what advice would you have?
Just know your lines, know that we want you to be there, know that we're willing you to do well, and try and call everyone by the right name.
6 days ago, I had a hair transplant. So yeah, I've done a kind of amateur shot of myself for Spotlight.
It might be better to flip it, so it's just one of the options rather than it being your main one.
With me wanting to transition over into film, into screen work, should I stop crediting my theatre stuff on Spotlight?
How can I work with my agent to sort of shift into that next tier and sort of maybe move away from some of those roles that I've done quite a lot of?
Try and separate yourself from that and just kind of say, look, I know it's a great project, but I really trying to do bigger roles. Actually, I'm not going to take this one. I'm not going to do this one. You've got to know when to look after yourself. That's what I need everyone to know, is you need to look after yourself first and worry about the rest later.
So the full 90-minute session, the recording is in your members area right now on atsonthis.tv. If you are a member, please go and watch this session this week and take action on it. And if you're not a member, this is what we do basically every single week. Well, 3 weeks out of every 4, we do a live call with a top casting director, agent, actor, writer, producers. Like you saw there, members get to jump on camera, ask questions. We cover all the questions I think that actors just are too afraid to ask. Like you saw there, me say, listen, come on, Victor, who's in your office? Like, what does Anna do? What does Pashali do? What does Seth do? What does Andy do? How do you split the work up? Who do we contact for what? And it just really humanizes the industry so that, hopefully you guys are not afraid to reach out and sell yourself. Like, done in a way, as Victor explains, like, in that session, if you want to know how you want to approach the office properly, everybody's a bit different. Every casting director likes slightly different things. You will see in that session, or you will hear in that session exactly how you do that. But the amount of time still in the 2023 world, I have to read emails from actors emailing me saying, Ross, is it okay to email casting directors? I see tweets from people going, guys, just want some feedback. Like, do you think you should email casting directors? I'm like, where have you been for the last 12 years whilst I've been shouting this from the rooftops? And every single casting director that I've had on Acts on this in the last 12 years has said, we are only as good as the actors that we know. We need to know who you are. You need to reach out to us professionally with the right stuff, with your show reel in a particular way that they like, headshots in a particular way, with your spotlight, so that you have a chance at being seen. Because if you are not doing this year, and we'll talk about how January's gone for you already, you're going to lose. You're just going to lose if you just expect some sort of luck to happen, basically. So I want people acting on this. That's why it's called. That's why it's called Act on This. And in a second, I'm going to play out just a little clip. You saw Nick, the guy who was talking about having a hair transplant in that trailer there. And his question was about what to do when you've got a temporary change of look. Because Nick's gone for a hair transplant. Looks good. His hairline is banging. I'm looking at mine now going, if this goes any further back, I'll probably get one myself. His hair's going to grow. Obviously, right now, he's shaved his head for the hair transplant, but give it 6 weeks, his hair will be in a different, an entirely different style, and then 6 weeks after that. And sometimes people will dye their hair. They'll cut their hair for a role. They'll change their appearance ultimately, and it might just be temporarily. For a while, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, even basic things like, I remember when I was going to get laser eye surgery and I couldn't wear contact lenses so that my corneas sort of bounced back into their normal shape before I was going to have it done. So for weeks, I think I had to wait like 8 weeks. They said, you can't wear contact lenses for 8 weeks. So the next 8 weeks, you've got to wear glasses. And I was like, well, I've got no headshots with me with glasses on. Like, now it's only going to be temporarily, me with glasses. And it's not to say that you can't just wear glasses anyway as costume. But even little things like that, You know, where you're like, oh God, I actually don't have any headshots of me like that. Maybe I should get one. I'm not going to have it as my main shot. I'm going to, you know, just have it on Spotlight and not have loads and loads and loads of photos. But I'm going to play the clip out and how Victor answered that, just for anybody who's wondering how they would, how they would approach that if that is you. Before that, I'm just going to dive into the comments a little bit because I see loads of comments coming through from people who were on that session with Victor. I am back now. Yes, I must have been. Yeah, Facebook kicked me off before for a little minute, so sorry for those people who just thought I'd gone. Josh said his first commercial job last week. Nice one, Josh. Well, January's good for you, mate. That started off well. Good start to 2023. Zoe said she had an amazing week, a lot of amazing progress with my film, but I'm at the point where I feel there is so much to do and not enough time to do it. That's life, Zoe. You're always going to feel like that. No matter how much I plan for anything in my life, I always am like, oh my God, like if I just had one more day, you'll always feel like you've got a little bit too much to do. But that's good. It's good. You know, deadlines are good. It forces you to get stuff done. Sarah says, I was binge watching Happy Valley and thought a familiar voice in the car radio. Was that you? Yeah, it was. That was me. I do quite a lot of ADR. Which ADR is automated dialogue replacement. That basically is where you will go into a studio after the show's been shot, and you might replace dialogue from an actor who either they just don't like the way it was done. I mean, it's pretty brutal when that happens. I've only had to do that once where I've gone in to revoice an actor's voice because they didn't like it. It was a news reporter, so I had to basically lip sync what he was saying, but with my voice. That's pretty rough, I imagine, if you're the actor and you're like, Mom, I'm going to be on telly. And then you're waiting for your bit and it's not even your voice. I mean, that's like, fuck. But that happens occasionally. But, you know, very, very, very occasionally. On a whole, you're going in to add audio in or redo your own lines if, like, there was sound issues or something like that. So I do a lot of, news reporters, TV presenters. I do a lot of voices for, police radios, or on Hollyoaks quite a lot for, I did a croupier in the casino, tannoy announcements, like nurses announcements, doctor something to room 304, please, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I did Happy Valley, Sarah. I hope you're enjoying it. It's a cracking show. I've not seen the latest series, but really, really, really good. Andrea, I hope your film is going well. Thanks for being here. Shet, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Everybody, thanks for being here. Hayley said she's ended up binge watching Humans after the Victor Jenkins session because Victor did cast Humans back in the day. That was a cracking show. Well at like the forefront for its time, like, in terms of like, special effects and stuff. Matthew's bought a Fitbit at the start of the year. He's obsessed with getting his steps in as well. Matt, I went out for a walk yesterday with a coffee, mate. I got 20,000 in. I just got lost. Well, not actually lost. I mean, I just got lost in my thoughts. Right, Nick's here. Right, Nick, I'm just going to play. I hope you don't mind me playing this out, mate. We just cut a little bit of you talking about, how to handle this. You've got your hair in the state that it's in right now. I don't mean that in the state. It looks great, mate. You got your hair in a right state now. No, your hair looks fantastic. But it's going to change, isn't it? Give it 12 weeks, and it's going to be different. So Nick asked this question, like, Victor, how do I sort of deal with this? And no one's asked that. No one's ever asked that. So here's Victor's answer. It's very short, but just in case you were wondering.
6 days ago, I had a hair transplant. So yeah, I've done a kind of amateur shot of myself for Spotlight, and just kind of flagged it and said it'll be growing back. I'm just wondering whether I've kind of done it right in putting it as a main profile shot on Spotlight because it's who I am at the moment, or whether to have my kind of regular showreel, who I look like normally, which is a bit kind of professional and businessy, as my main shot.
It might be better to flip it, so it's just one of the options rather than it being your main one for now. Okay. Until you're settled in terms of how it's going to look when it's grown, etc. I mean, what I would say is that you're going to worry about your hairline much more than any of us are going to worry about your hairline. So so ultimately, what you look like, that's what hair and makeup are for. I mean, can you actually do hair and makeup?
Probably about another three weeks. I can wig it.
Yeah. So what you don't want to do is have people ask the question that I just asked, is like, but can you, if that's just happened, can you work? If you still got scarring, whatever.
If anyone's changing their look temporarily, Victor, so whether it is a haircut or they've dyed the hair for a particular role and stuff.
Chuck on an extra photo. Just chuck on. Yeah. Don't change your main one. Just chuck on an extra photo. And also with that, no more than 3 or 4.
So there you go. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, basically, if you're making a temporary change, if it's permanent, it's different in it. You're going to have to get a whole new series of headshots. But if it's a temporary change, then, add a headshot on for now. And then when that temporary change becomes permanent, so Nick, when you decide, what style you're going to wear your hair in, now you will have masses and masses and masses of it. I'll be very jealous. Then you can then go and get a whole, like a whole new set done. But don't change your main shot just yet. If it is some kind of temporary change. I'm a big believer in what Victor says there as well on Spotlight. I don't like seeing more than 4 photographs, because you've got to remember, like, Spotlight's not a place it's not sort of like a place to just show what you look like in different costumes. Like, like Victor said there, that is, a costume designer, a makeup designer's idea and job, to change you if they wish. You don't want to give people so many looks that they don't know who you actually are. It's a bit like your show reel. We talk about it all the time on the show reel surgery sessions we do every quarter. You really want to know by the end of that show reel exactly who that person is, what their casting type is. You don't want to see 6 scenes that are so far away from each other. You're like, I actually have no idea, even this person's accent. Like, what is their native accent? Because there's 6 scenes where they're all different. I have no idea. So yeah, headshots are the same. Your headshots should be so congruent with your casting type. And you only need 3 to 4 shots to show that, to show that entire spectrum of your casting type. It's not about saying, oh, well, I could look moody in a shot and I could wear glasses, or I could have my hair up and look really happy. That's, we can all look different in one frame of a photograph. It's about, you and your essence as a person when you walk through the door in real life, or you're on camera at 30 frames a second, 60 frames a second. It's very different. I know I could look horrible and moody and a bit angry in a shot, but ultimately when I walk through that casting door to the casting suite, I'm basically a cross between Anton de Beek and Alan Partridge. I'm not that mean and moody, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But thank you, Nick, for asking that question, mate. I really appreciate it. He says no more comb overs for him. He says Rapunzel, a Rapunzel remake is coming. we were all like that. Nick, let down your hair. Amazing. And Nick says, another Nick Field says, interesting to know as I've had to shave my beard off before now. Yeah, so it's just like whacking another shot on to go, here's me. I normally wear a beard, but you know what? I've had to shave it off for a job. So here's me without one. And then, when you're subbed for an audition, if they wanted you for the beard, and then your agent can say, listen, right now, I had a little note, he's just shaved it off. He's got 3 weeks of stubble, but no big beard. And then they can decide whether they're going to, glue a beard on you, give you time to grow it out more before you shoot your scenes, or whether they're quite happy with you shaving it off. What used to always not annoy me, because I understood why they had to do it, but I like to just have like a little bit. I don't grow a beard, and if I do, it's proper ginge as well. Like Ed Sheeran style ginge, and it's weird because I've got kind of like brownish hair with little bits of ginge in, but not like ginge. So I don't grow like a beard or anything like that. But every time I'd go on set to do a job, they would always clean shave me. I hate the feeling of being clean shaven. Like you're 15 at school, and they'd always say, "Oh, we got to do it because then makeup sticks in your stubble." But I'm like, it's just, I don't know. And what I'd always do as well? They'd give me like an electric razor to do it with, and I'd always somehow cut myself. So I'd be walking onto set, like, because I'd always play suited and booted characters. That was, I'd always be doctors or policemen and stuff like that. Always be holding tissue on my neck, trying not to get it on the shirt. That was, because you have to button it up with a tie. Not good for me. Not got good beard game at all. Maya, how you doing? Is it a read through today, Maya, for a brand new Netflix drama? It'll be announced next week. Superb cast, and the name of the lead character was called Maya, and I knew how to say Maya, not Maya, because of you. Maya rhymes with fire, so so there you go. Thanks for that. Right. So that's Victor Jenkins. Go and check out that session on ActsOnThis.tv if you haven't already, and thank you to everybody who's already taken that in. The other thing, because I didn't do a broadcast last week, like I said, I was doing that Act Up North broadcast, I don't know how many of you guys watched the podcast that I put out last week with Daniel Edwards, well, the week before, actually, with Daniel Edwards, Emmy-nominated, Emmy-winning now. He won, Emmy-winning casting director Daniel Edwards. just one of my favourite people in the acting industry, full stop. Daniel came up to my apartment, sat in my kitchen for 2.5 hours to chat all things acting, and it was a real in-depth chat, really vulnerable about his past, when he was an actor, growing up, facing racism, homophobia, how he was struggling with addiction for 17 years. It's one of the most brutally honest, brilliant chats I've had around casting ever. In 45,000 hours of doing these interviews. So I've got the trailer here. Again, you'll find the full podcast in the Acts on This members area. This alone's worth getting a membership if you've not got one. I'm not just saying that. Here's a little trailer. It's only like 2 minutes again, but super proud of this chat. It was just really, really good. And we're going to be bringing you as members this year loads more chats like this. I love doing the Zooms, but I really want to get the deep, gritty chats about the reality of this industry, not just the, look at everything through rose-tinted specs and, just work hard, you'll be fine. Like, sometimes you can work hard and you will be fine in the end, but you're still going to get smacked in the face again and again and again and again, for being in this industry, but also just for being human. So here's a little bit of that if you've not seen it already. I love it.
She looked at me like I was the most despicable, disgusting thing that she'd ever seen. And she went, "You stupid big bluff."
And the Emmy goes to Heartstopper!
Every single person from the LGBTQI plus community around the world who've taken this incredible show to heart. It gets better. We see you. Thank you so much. 17 years ago, I was a cocaine addict. Of course I was. I left school like an absolute mess. Came out of acting and I went into casting, and I've made a career for myself with my sobriety. So without the trauma, I couldn't have had the right. I'm going to grab this.
Obviously, there's loads of people like, listen, this is game changing. I want to be a part of it. I want to be in touch with Daniel's team, potentially be on the radar for any kind of casting. They don't even know who's in your team.
If you want me to take you seriously, I need to know that you understand how it works. I wish I could see more actors come into the casting room who are just happier.
I get so many emails from actors just questioning whether they should be with their agent.
They think that we don't deal with your agent. That's bullshit. It is hard. It is never, ever, ever, ever going to be easy. Enjoy the process. Otherwise, as I've said 1,000 times, why the fuck are you doing it? I can't bear the thought that people would think I'm a wanker.
I love the ending on that. The full 2.5 hour chat with Daniel is in the members area right now. Honestly, like, it's a roller coaster of emotion. It'll put you through it all. But by the end of it, yeah, I hope people feel pumped and motivated to go and attack the industry and really ask it for what it is that you want, as opposed to just being afraid and just sort of, holding yourself back. Sarah says it was brilliant. Sora says it was great, insightful. How are you doing, Margaret? Thanks for being here. Anthony feels me on the beard. Yeah, you're part of the Ginger Beard Club as well, Anthony. Honestly, it was just a really, really incredible chat. And like I said, and let us know. I'd love some feedback for those people who have watched it on, just the production values. We've really upped it. We've started shooting multi-camera now. I used to just shoot on my podcast with just one camera. I feel you can really get more out of it where, we can get real close-ups of the guest's face and you can actually see what's going on behind their eyes. It's a bit like a casting, isn't it? It's a bit like a self-tape. At distance, I can see and I can listen to a podcast and it's fine. But when people are really going into detail around their life, being able to see their thoughts and like see into their eyes is a lot better. So it takes a lot more effort. It costs more, obviously, but I really want to produce more of those podcasts in the future. And maybe what we'll do is we'll bring back what we used to do on some of the podcasts a couple of years ago. Is we did member, not phone-ins as such, but I would get Act on This members to drop me questions and their mobile number, and we would ring a few people live. On during the recording of that podcast, and it's a bit like a radio show in that sense, and get people a little bit of a one-to-one with the special guests. So maybe I'll start doing that again. But I just love that. I love doing the Zooms, But because they're only 90 minutes or 2 hours and they're more business orientated, they're all about the business of the business, which is what really is really, really important in getting you a job, obviously. But it is nice to also cover the life side of people in this industry as well, so that you just don't feel like you're the only one struggling all the time, or these people who have got great success. Like Daniel had his Emmy out on the table in my kitchen and his RTS award, which I told him to do. That's the thing at the end. He said, I don't want people to think I'm a wanker. I told him to bring them up because I wanted to see him. It wasn't his idea. But, people will see that and they'll be like, oh, Daniel's got it all made. They won't know he was a cocaine addict for 17 years. They don't see that side of people. They just see the finished article and go, oh, I'm nowhere near as good as them. They must have not faced the adversity that I'm facing. And it's very often not the case. I find some of my biggest changes in life have been through turning adversity into advantage. And I'm facing it now. A relationship right now is just a week ago, effectively, put my relationship with my girlfriend on hold. It was very amicable, kind of, mutual in a way. But it's just, it just throws loads of adversity in your face, and you just have two options. You either sync with it or you go, right, how is this happening for me and not to me? So if anyone else is going through shit, you've just got to say, listen, what is the good in this situation that I cannot currently see? And sometimes it's so hard, particularly when, that's happening in life, in your personal life, and then you're also struggling in your acting career, and you're getting smashed from everywhere. You're getting punched from the left, from the right. But I promise you, my experience is, when this has happened before in my life, lots of other adversity as well, like from going back years and years and years, these rock bottoms, or what feel like rock bottoms sometimes, are absolutely the bedrock that you build a solid foundation on for success moving forward. So that podcast with Daniel is a really great example of that. And hopefully that will inspire people, no matter what you're going through right now, to go, you know what, no, come on, I can do it. And I can also be sitting there one day, at the top of my game. And it's not about awards. Of course, it's not about awards, but, they do signify to a certain degree, that you have, you've achieved a lot, and you've got the respect of, of the industry and your peers. Don't, for whatever you do, hang all of your significance on an award, though. Like, just don't do it. That's dangerous. But yeah, and with that, I mean, let's talk about, how that was the next thing on the list, how the first 4 weeks of 2023 have gone for you. I would love to know, because I'm, a big advocate of checking in with yourself throughout the year, like every week if you can, but at least every month. As opposed to what a lot of people do is they just go, right, I'm going to set my goals on New Year's Eve, and then I'll check in with myself next New Year's Eve. And you're like, that's never going to work for you. It's never going to work. You can never keep yourself on track if you're going to do that. If you veer off track and you check back in with yourself once a month, you've got 12 times the chance of staying on that track. If you check in once a week, 52 times the chance of staying on track that you'd have if you just set your goals and then just went, oh, okay, right, I'll just check in with myself next year and let's see if we've achieved them. So I'd love to know, if you're here live, how's January been? We're currently, as we're recording live, it's on the 30th of January for those people who are listening on the replay or watching on the replay. You can always get involved in this if you want by tweeting at ActOnThisTV. Instagram's the same, at ActOnThisTV. Tag me in your stories. I'd just love to know, how the first 4 weeks of your year have gone, whether that's been good or bad. And if it's been, I'm not even going to say bad, if the outcome has not been what you wanted, then it's all right. We've got another 11 chapters of this year left to make, to end the story well. If, the first 4 weeks have been brilliant, then, we've got another 11 weeks to build on that success. 11 months, sorry, to build on that success and, and keep things flying high. So let us know in the chat now, and I'll go through the comments and just see what people think. And just know, if things haven't gone particularly well, most people by the 23rd, 24th of January have, I think it's like 70% of people have already given up on a New Year's resolution or a goal that they set. And that doesn't mean that you can't get back on track, like I say. So don't think you're the only one. 7 out of 10 people will be like, oh God, how many people do you hear saying, I'm writing off 2023 already? January's shit. January has been freaking challenging, hugely challenging. In many different ways. Petch, bless him, our producer. Oh my God, the adversity that guy has faced in January and December, actually, really, really bad. But again, it's having the mindset to go, right, how can I use this for me as opposed to looking at all this stuff happening to me. And it's really hard, but that paradigm shift in the way that you think and you're viewing stuff can really make or break you. Let's have a look. Joe says she needs to watch it. I've emailed Daniel, but not heard yet. Yeah, you want to watch that before you email Joe, because he talks about the email address to send stuff to, and then also what he needs from people. Same with Victor. As well. And Sarah says, yeah, on those podcasts it feels like you're there. Yeah, it does. I think when you have multicam stuff like that, it definitely sort of brings the guest into your living room, or wherever you're watching it, like into your home. Andrea, good news for January. She's got a sparkly new agent. She says, amazing, Andrea. That's wicked. Who is it? Do you want to say? And how, and also, yeah, Andrea, share how you did that. There'll be people here who are looking for agents. Obviously, we have loads of agent chats on AtsOnThis.tv. If you're looking for an agent, dive into the members area. There are dozens with some of the best agents in the country, both big and small, depending on where you're at in your career. There's something in there for you. But Andrea, yeah, share with the group like how you went about that, because I know you're a hustler and you're always putting yourself out there and creating your own work and stuff like that. It'd be interesting to know what you did there, if you've got any tips for people. Zoe says, I've shocked myself in how much I've achieved in the first 4 weeks. It's not been an easy 4 weeks, but I've loved the journey to now. So again, Zoe, let us know, what is it that's made you shocked? Like, what were you doing? How were you showing up each day, to get more done? Let us know. Kate's been line learning like crazy. Sarah says, we're so inspired with advice of health and focus, so I completed dry January and carrying on for the rest of the year. Wow. Feeling amazing, plus had new photos done. That's amazing, Sarah. Good. Matt set a goal last summer to lose some weight. Matt, I've seen this, mate, on your headshots. You said, and changed my look and my health. 2 stone off as of last week and getting new headshots next week. Yeah, I saw that post you put on Twitter, dude. You look great now. Like, honestly, like, I could see, like, nothing against old Matt, but I don't know what you're fueling your body with now, but it's coming out of your skin like a radiance that in that shot, that old shot of you, I said to Petch, I was like, wow, look how different he looks just by what he's putting into his body. Not just in a weight, you've lost weight, but just in terms of like how alive you look, ultimately. I think sometimes people, and I definitely experienced this myself when I got onto a bit of a health and fitness journey in about 2010. I didn't realize how good my body was designed to feel. What I used to think was me on a good day, when I really started fueling my body with, proper nutrition, and I really started working out and exercising, I was like, oh my God, like what I used to think was me feeling good is almost me feeling hungover now. But until you level up, you don't appreciate that. So good on you, Matt. 2 stones massive, mate. Keep going if that's your goal. Michael says 1 audition for a feature confirmed and another possible for a pilot. Good January so far. That's quality, Michael. 2 auditions in 4 weeks is wicked, man. Definitely. Joe's coaching. With Matt. So one of my friends, Matt Hall, is a great coach, kind of a business coach and a high performance mindset coach as well. I did a program with him for actors last year called Bulletproof Actor, which we will be bringing back this year. It's now a pre-recorded program that I'm super proud of. Definitely has changed about 150 actors' lives so far. He went on it last November, and Joe, he did say he was going to work with a few people from the group moving forward. So that's wicked. I might do. Would you let me know if you guys would be interested? I might bring Matt back. Matt's done a couple of features with us, but I might bring Matt back for a proper in-depth podcast again on mindset. I mean, it's a huge part of what I coach people on. Matt's massive on it as well. But where you guys would have to send us the most honest, vulnerable, brutal questions about mindset and the way that you think and maybe work against yourself when it comes to psychology, and sometimes you sabotage yourselves or whatever it is. Oh, hang on, Facebook's doing that thing again. Facebook's saying, I'm connected to the internet, but Facebook's, bear with us a second. Don't know why it does this. Sorry for those on the recording, you won't go through this, but yeah, Facebook, he's putting me back online now. Facebook, schmacebook. Let me know if I'm back, guys. I should be. I don't know why it does that, because my internet connection doesn't cut out or anything like that. My internet connection's fine. It just, Facebook decides it's just going to throw a little paddy for about 10 seconds and then put me back on. But yeah, if you are here and you can hear me, I would need from you, if I was going to do an in-depth podcast with Matt, really, and it can be anonymous, like I won't say this is from such and such a body. We can just answer like the top 10 most, I don't know, sort of like the biggest questions that we get when it comes to psychology and mindset. Just in the acting industry and outside of it as well. I think Matt would make for a really good guest. And because, we're such good friends, we can talk about absolutely like anything with such honesty. So if you want that, let us know, and I'll try and arrange that for this month, and we'll put that out in February. We'll do one with Matt. Terry says January's been very generous to me. I'm about to come up to my 60-day check-in for goals, and I'm slowly ticking output goals off the to-do list. Still up and down days though. That's life, Terry. You're gonna have those days. Just as long as you do the best. You do, as long as you can, at the end of the day, say, you know what, I am doing the best that I can with what I have right now. I don't think anyone can argue against that, can they? If you know, and don't you? We all know deep down when we procrastinated that day and we've just ended up on freaking Instagram for 30 minutes watching cat reels. We know when we could have done more. And you know what? Sometimes even that, you're like, actually, you know what? I couldn't. That was my best today. I just wasn't feeling it at all. That was actually my best. I needed to watch those cat reels to make myself feel, better. And just like tomorrow will now be better because of that. But as long as you're doing the best with what you have right now, I think that's all right. And as long as we're seeking, constant improvement, then that's all you can really ask of yourself, isn't it? Katora says, I've gone in full 100% this last 4 weeks with regards to the acting output bulletproof program. Nice one, Katora. That's what we talk about on the bulletproof program. But the last few days have felt burnt out, to be honest. I've neglected self-care in the process. Good things are decent. Good things are a decent amount of self-tapes. Lots of emails sent, and I'm in the running for a TV role. Wow. Okay, well, you know what? That's just a season of hustle that you've been through. You've got a great result out of it now that you're in the running for a TV role. So that's the result that you wanted from all that work, let's be honest. Now, just spend the next couple of days on self-care. Make sure you're getting those steps in. Go for a walk. Put an inspiring podcast in your ears. Make sure you're drinking that 3 litres of water a day, and just get sleep. And then you'll be ready to go again. And you've learned something. You've learned sort of where... When you burn out, you learn where the line is, don't you? For me in 2021, when I said I had such a rough year in 2021, I was blaming it at the time on the vaccine, because I ended up with loads of lymph nodes on the left side of my body. They just wouldn't. They were all swollen. There was nothing wrong with me. I kept going for ultrasounds and stuff like that. They were like, we don't know what this is. It could be a reaction. But I think looking back, and I've looked at the research behind this now, so much of that was to do with stress, because I was literally sat in front of this computer for 15 hours a day for 2 years almost since we got locked down. And, we were doing 2 broadcasts a week at one point. That's just a ton of work. Running a community, for 1,000 actors, everything that goes along with that. There's only me and Petch who do this, all the videos, editing, posting stuff, recording all the stuff. And I think I just burnt myself out. So I know where that limit is now. So actually, it was a really good thing, Katora, because I've learned where that is. And had I not done that and reached burnout, I never would have known. You never really know how far you can push yourself until you push yourself over the edge. I'm not saying that's a great thing, but I think it's quite useful as long as it's not over the edge of a cliff. So that's good. So now you're in the running for that TV role. Chill, you'll be all right. You can have a couple of days off. You deserve it. Indra's updated his show reel. Still not got an agent. Well, Indra, this is the year, man. This is the year that you're going to have to do things that you've not done before. If this was your goal last year and you didn't make it happen, that didn't work for whatever reason, we've got to stand up, take accountability, and go, right, okay, there's loads of areas in my life I've had to do this recently. I'm like, right, what I was doing before isn't working, hasn't worked. If I'm going to expect a different result, I can't just keep doing that thing. I've really got to mix it up. So yeah, you've really got to look at your toolkit effectively. Headshot, show reel, cover letter. The emails that you're sending out, they're the only things really that that equate to an agent, unless you can get in front of agents at panels, which I think is really good. There's a lot of acting schools up and down the country. I know Act for TV in Manchester, Leeds and Liverpool. Acts up north as well do this, where they will have like an agent panel now and again. I think they do it for charity, and then actors audition to basically perform in front of the agent panel. They might have 5 agents there, and so many actors who do really good performances and blow those guys away will get representation from that event. So that's really useful. But if your real headshot and emails that you're sending out haven't quite hit the spot yet, we just mix it up, and that might be a different edit of your reel. We change the scene order, we shoot new stuff, we do an email approach slightly differently. Headshots might need updating. They might just need switching around. Your main headshot on Spotlight might just need switching up. You might need to record a few self-tapes, and start putting them out, put them out on Twitter so that people notice you. You get a bit more traction that way. Lots of things you can do, but we've got to start doing different things ultimately in order to get a different result. So it's good, mate, in a way. It's exciting. It's inspiring to go, right, okay, you know what? Come on. Let's level up. Let's hit that next level. And that next level for all of us is just 2 millimeters above where we are right now. I'm not saying you've got to, that's it, change everything in your life. Your next level is 2 millimeters above your head right now. Do you think you can reach that next level? Of course you can. You can maybe reach half a meter above your head if you put your hand up. So let's go. Let's do it. Josh has wrapped on a feature film, booked a commercial, got plenty of replies to my emails after I shot my own self-tapes for day player roles, planning his wedding for next year and hopefully moving house soon, as well as working 6:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. He says, hustle life, baby. Josh, man. Josh, you put in the work though, mate. One thing I can never take away from you is that. Like, look at Josh's Twitter and the hustle that he's putting in, and how even getting up at 4:30, what time do you have to get up, Josh? Probably 5 o'clock in the morning to get to work for 6:30. You still always make positivity louder, which I think is a really good attribute for everybody. Because you only need to look at Twitter and the world right now. My God, we don't need to make negativity louder. It's done for us. It is so negative in the world right now if you want to take in that shit. Or you can decide to make positivity louder and unfollow all the accounts that are making you feel bad, and Josh is always putting stuff out where you're like, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. I know you sent me an email the other day, mate, I was super grateful to receive. And that's a change in mindset, and that's what it can do for you when you're looking for the good as opposed to looking for what's wrong in the world and looking for the problems. And it's so hard because problems are just smashed in our face all the time. But, one person can change your life, and that's you. Ultimately, that's quite powerful if you think about it, because a lot of people are waiting for other people to change their lives. You can do it yourself. Let's have a look. What else is going down in the chat? Matt says he feels so much healthier. And Andrea says, so a new agent is Jessica Trullo from Trullo Agency. I really researched the agencies and made sure I was a match to their brand. I sent friendly emails with 3 points of who I am and what I'm up to. We had a 1 hour Zoom call. And I knew the questions I wanted answering, and I was myself. It was like a first date. Yes. Well, you got your second date, Andrea, and you locked it in. Definitely. You're now engaged to a new agent. So good for you. I really hope it's a fantastic relationship. So, yeah, that's exciting. That's really exciting. Definitely. Zoe's been more productive because she's been scheduling her days with purpose and doing the things that that's important. The things she least wants to do first. She's managed to book a venue, raised £350 on a GoFundMe for a film, and learn how to do a call sheet. Never thought Zoe would be able to do that. And that's amazing. So what that'll do, Zoe, for your success cycle, anyone who's done coaching with me understands the success cycle now. That's basically the amount of action you take dependent on the belief you have in your own potential to achieve something. So if you really believe you can do it, you're going to take action that's congruent with that, and thus you're going to get great results. Even if it's not the exact result you want, because you took massive specific action because you believe you could, you get good results by default, and that feeds back into your beliefs. So Zoe, next time I go, oh, well, you know what? I've done that once. Maybe I can, I've done a short. Maybe I can do a slightly longer short, or maybe I'll start looking at a feature, or, I can probably, join forces with another writer and we can do something bigger. I don't know what it would be, but just, you're going to have more belief in your potential to achieve bigger and bigger things. And then you take bigger action, you get better results, and it goes round and round and round, and it's a cycle. But a lot of actors and just human beings fuel their success cycle with so many limiting beliefs around it's too hard, I'm too poor, I don't have enough money, I'm not good looking enough, I don't have enough time, I've not got friends in high places, my career is dictated to me by chance or powerful other people. And thus they don't believe in their potential, so they take no action. They literally sit on their backsides complaining on Twitter about how shit their mental health is. And I'm a massive empath, so I really am like, oh my God, that's terrible. But I know if you just put some more action in and just believe in yourself, even just a little bit more, you'd hit that 2 millimeters of that next level above you. And then that'll propel you to the next 2 millimeters and the next 2 millimeters. And it goes on and on and on. But a lot of people sink down and down and down and down and down. But it's not until you're aware of that really that you can stop it. You'll see people who don't even know they're fueling their success cycle really well. And you'll just go, God, they're lucky. They fall in crap and just end up smelling of roses. And it's like they're fueling their success cycle in a way that you're not. even if they aren't aware they're doing it. Sometimes you get people. I'm not saying this is good, but I've seen some people get really successful just off like delusion because they really believed they were that good, and they weren't. But they believed so much. They took more action than everyone else, and they're the people. And we've all done it. We've seen someone on TV, and we've gone, God, how did they get that job? Like, I could do better than that. And then it's like, well, you can't, mate, can you? Because look, you're sat at home watching them, and they're on TV. That's a brutal reality of it. They worked harder than you, you know. And people say, oh no, they didn't. Their uncle's the producer or something, and it's not the case. In so many cases, it's just the fact that their belief in themselves was so much greater. They probably believed more in their potential than the potential they actually had. But because of that, they took action that was congruent with that, and they got a really good result. So yeah, it's funny, the success cycle. If you've not, if I've not shown it you, tag me in on Twitter or something like that. I'll send you a picture of it. It's a huge part of Bulletproof Actor, and if you want to get on the waiting list for that, by the way, we will be bringing that course back shortly, probably in the second quarter of this year. Bulletproofactor.com if you want to read all about it. But it's literally, it's not only the only one, but it's, even if it was one of thousands, honest to God, in my opinion, it's the best high performance mindset coaching program for actors on earth. Well, just people on earth, regardless, because it's the culmination of probably 20 years study and cherry picking the very best bits of all the personal development me and Matt have done over the years. So we can't take credit for it all, because we've just gone, right, well, this theory from this person over here is amazing, this one is amazing from over here, and rather than, take 50 courses, you can do this one course, and we believe we've given absolutely, the very best tips, strategies, and frameworks to really level up your mindset to a point where it will just change your life forever. If you stick to it. So bulletproofactor.com if you want to learn more about that. Anthony says he's had a few auditions here and there. Guest role in Hollyoaks aired in January, and a showreel scene wrapped yesterday. Just preparing myself, ready to fuel the energy into Twitter and marketing once it's edited and cut together. Did notice at the start of January, loads of spotlight stuff got pushed out and then slowed down last few weeks or so. The industry's like just going into a massive busy period of production. I've been invited to 3 huge read-throughs in 3 weeks. So I did one for Boiling Point, the Phil Barantini, Stephen Graham, and Hannah Walters TV show based on the feature film. The read-through for that was last Monday. That went into production today. I was at the read-through for an 8-part Netflix show today. That's going to be announced. I can't say what that is because that's not been announced yet, but that's an incredible cast as well, and there's so much up for grabs in that. I think I had to read in for about 12 different characters today that I think are I think 10 of them probably aren't cast. There's quite a lot up for grabs in that, but you'll see that hit social media at some point, I'm sure, in the next week or so. And then next, whenever the 15th is, that's like 2 weeks, isn't it? I'm at another read-through for the same production company, actually, for an ITV drama. And that's all stuff that's just going into production just in, just 3 shows in Manchester right now. There's bound to be more, but it is busy. Like, it is. If your agent's going, oh, there's not much going on, they're struggling with limiting beliefs, or they're just sat there just hoping something's going to come up on Spotlight. Like, again, all of us, not just actors, but all of us, agents, as casting directors have to do, we've all got to take more action to get the work that we want. So if you're hearing people say it's quiet, they're fueling their success cycle with dog shit. So take more action. Don't believe them. Honestly, there's isn't it better to hold the empowering belief that there's as much work out there as I want if I look hard enough? Isn't that far more empowering than the limiting belief that it's quiet? What would you, even if it's not true, what would you rather believe? What's going to force you to take more action? Oh, it's quiet, I'm going to play on my Nintendo. Or there's as much work out there as, as I need if I look hard enough. I know what I'd rather believe. It's just better, isn't it? It's just better, even if you can't. Oh, I'm back in the buffer zone. It's showing green on my Facebook here, so hopefully I'm back. And I'm sorry for those people who are live and they're experiencing cutouts like this. You guys on the recording won't experience any of this. Right, so let's have a look. There's so many comments here. I'm so sorry for missing all these. There's just freaking loads and loads and loads. Let's have a look. Bulletproof. Sarah Jane, thank you so much. This Bulletproof changed my life, and now I'm part of Matt's Success School. Can't get enough of personal development now. Learned so much. You know something? I'll give someone else a shout out. someone who's inspired me loads when it comes to the podcast game, and when what forced me into doing those multi-camera interviews now and really leveling up when it comes to production values was Stephen Bartlett. You'll all know him. He's a dragon on Dragon's Den. I've known him. Well, I've not known him. I'm not like a mate or anything like that. I've met him a couple of times, probably a decade ago. And I followed his journey for years and years and years. At one point, he was gonna come on my podcast as well when he wasn't famous. I've still got the email. That says set it up with my PA Sophie, and we did. And then he had to go to New York for this for when he was setting up part of his company Social Chain in New York, and it never happened. And I since a couple of weeks ago asked his manager now. I'm like, is there any chance he's gonna honor this email that he sent to say do a podcast with me? And he was very, very nice, his manager, but he's like, listen, it might be a bit of a big ask now. But Stephen's a great guy. His podcast every week, The Diary of a CEO, you should watch. You should just watch or listen to. Very, very good. Great episode came out today with a guy called Jay Shetty. But Stephen's brought out something called The Diary, which is a different way of journaling, basically, where you write your thoughts down, obviously like a diary in a journal every week, and then you scan a QR code at the end of the week, upload your results to an app, and then it feeds you tailored coaching on the areas that you need to focus on. And I'm doing it now. Again, I was like, right, if I want a different result this year, I had a great year last year. Like Act on This as a community and a business grew massively. My acting career was interesting. I did loads of voice acting last year, but I had 9 quality auditions for big shows, a couple of really big shows, really big parts. And it's the first year in 10 years I didn't get an on-screen job. So that was quite interesting. I did Pinocchio. I did a great voiceover for the remake of Pinocchio, playing Manja Fuoco in that. I did a brand new series for Netflix called Simon. These are all animations. I did a kids show called Mini Kids TV. Probably over 100 episodes. And I had some great auditions, but I didn't book a single role on screen, which proved to me, sometimes you can think you're doing every single thing right, but actually you're still not going to get the result that you want because there's certain things that are just out of your control. So I thought, again, this year, I've got to start doing things differently. And one thing that I thought I'm going to start doing differently to understand myself and get self-awareness, to be able to read myself even better, is going to be journaling. And genuinely, not just this whole Instagram, just journal because it's cool, man. None of that bullshit. I'm not doing it so I can take photographs of my journal next to a green juice and post it on fucking Instagram. Like, I'm really gonna do it. Like, write a lot of notes. Zoe, I know you're the note queen. If someone writes notes on everything, it's Zoe. So I'm doing it, and it's got, it's got some really cool quotes in the book as well, in the diary as well. Sometimes sometimes it's cliched, isn't it? When you'll scroll down. I often post some inspirational quotes and stuff on the Acts on This Instagram page, and people will write a message under it saying, thank you so much, I really needed to hear this today. And sometimes you kind of take that for granted. I'll be like, someone's just going to need to hear this. Let's just put all this stuff out. And yesterday, there's some of these that I read, I thought, God, I really needed to, almost like it was perfect timing. Like, I really, really needed to hear that. And this was the one for me. It says, the most convincing sign that someone will achieve new results in the future is new behavior in the present. And it sent a little shiver down my spine. I thought, because it really relates to something that I'm dealing with in my own life right now. The most convincing sign that someone will achieve new results in the future is new behavior in the present. I thought, fuck, I really needed to read that as I was journaling last night. So the diary, I think it's thediary.com. If you want to get one of them, I'm not affiliated with Stephen at all. Don't get any commission, but maybe you want to try it with me. I can't remember how much they are. I don't think they're cheap though. I think about 40 quid, but I think you get like a few months out of it, so it's probably not too bad. But that's something, Sarah Jane, that I'm doing when it comes to personal development. But I will definitely bring Matt back for a podcast. I'm going to text him after this, actually. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to record that. That's probably going to be February's podcast. Then I will put that out, I think, on the 17th of February. I think is the next podcast for members. So I'll make that this month. I think sometimes people after January, if the year's not started off that great, need it in February. I think that's the month where we can sort of sink into oh God, this year is going to be exactly the same as last if we're not careful. So let's make that happen. Andrea says, I've decided that this is the year. Andrea, good for you. I've decided, she says, that this is the year I'll get a boyfriend, but only because I pulled my back and need help picking things up. Andrea, it's lovely. It's lovely to share your life with somebody. It's complicated as hell. I told you I'm going through a really complicated potential end of a relationship or whatever right now, and it is so challenging. Like, it's so amazing sharing your life with somebody else. But this is the thing, right? Moving into relationship counseling now. This is the thing that I think really screws people up. We are fed from such a young age, and without sounding, God, I'll get cancelled for this or something like this. I don't even know how to say this without. These days you can't say this, but I was going to say particularly, well, when I was at school, right, girls in my class effectively really bought into the fairy tale story of Cinderella. As boys, we were more interested in playing football and, picking our noses probably. And I know times change and stuff like that. I'm probably in the past when it comes to that. But I know that, like, a lot of my friends, girls that I knew growing up, were so obsessed with this idea of, like, Prince Charming, the slipper will just fit. It should just feel right is something that they were all saying. I'd hear them, like talking like, oh, I'm not sure about dating this guy because I just don't know if it feels right, or it should just, it should just be perfect. I don't know. And I think that's really dangerous because, look at anything else. Look at your acting career, right? You can't just say, oh, I want an amazing career. It should just be right. Like, you work at it, don't you? You work hard at becoming a better actor. You work hard at building relationships with casting directors. You work hard at shooting a show reel. You go to workshops. You tune into stuff like this. You join acts on this. You don't just go, oh, it should just be easy. And I think if we're not careful, we think that's what a relationship should just be. And when it's not, I think, and especially in the social media age of Instagram, where I know, this is what I know couples, I swear to God, no names, but who on Instagram you think are absolutely perfect couples and they're so happy. And yet I know these people and I know that they're not super happy. And, some people are in like real dire straits when it comes to their relationship. And yet online you'd be like, oh my God, why is my relationship not like theirs? They're just so happy. I find, generally speaking, the people who post most photos of themselves being all coupley are not in the present with their other half that much. So they're doing that to fill some kind of void and to signal to everyone else that they're happy. So when we're seeing that, coupled with the, I don't know if it's right, and we don't think we have to work for stuff, I think people are throwing away great relationships on the pursuit of perfection that doesn't exist. So, and I think our acting careers are the same. I think, people are counting themselves out and they're discounting great projects that they're doing that could be an independent film or a feature film or a web series or a play. Yet because it's not a Netflix drama, they're not giving themselves credit for it and they think that they're failing. And I'm like, just have a look at what you've done. Like, you've just, 50 people, it might just be 50 people have come to watch you in a theatre show above a pub. But 50 people paid money to come and watch you, and you moved them and you told them a story and they came to see you. And just because that's not 200 million people across 190 countries on Netflix, you feel like a worthless piece of shit. And it's like, please, like, appreciate, and give yourself credit for what you're doing and what you are achieving. Because this comparing bullshit on Instagram and all these other platforms is so dangerous. No wonder people are not feeling enough and walking around, as Daniel said in that trailer before, coming into the casting room unhappy. You can't torture yourself as an actor. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Like, why are you doing it? I know it's hard, but we've all got to try and bring the joy back. So, Andrea, get a boyfriend. Don't think it's going to be easy. I don't mean getting one's going to be easy. I mean, don't think. Listen to me. It's not going to be easy. Don't think like relationships are easy. I'm sure you don't, but my God, just enjoy it. Jimmy Carr said something amazing. He said, listen, meaning of life, 5 words, enjoying the passage of time. I was like, boom. I can't say it better than that. What is the meaning of life? Enjoying the passage of time. Right. If you're in a relationship, do you enjoy the passage of time together? Yes. If so, right. Just crack on. Don't think 5 years in the future. Don't think 10 years. Don't worry about that. If right now you're enjoying the passage of time, double down on that, because you don't know how much time you've got left, like, ultimately. So, let's crack on. I'm going to speak to a casting director this week. Bless him. Love him to bits. I think he's one of the nicest guys I've met in the industry. He's 42 years old and terminally ill and has got weeks to live. And nobody would have seen that coming. And, that's just heartbreaking, isn't it? Like, what's the point in worrying about what's going to happen in 5 years when, you know, any one of us could get a diagnosis like that and not be it. Hopefully, you know, we're all going to live long-lasting lives, but don't worry so much about the next 100 years. Like, don't worry about it. Let's have a look. Right, there's all these comments I've missed. I'm so sorry. There's so much here that I can't read, and we've got to wrap it up in a minute. But there you go. Andrea says, I know Disney's so damaging. I hear you. That's why I prefer Princess Leia on Star Wars. I won't date when lonely, as I know what crap I buy when I shop when I'm hungry. That's very good. I'm really happy being me on my own, so now is the right time to get things in my life. Yeah, honestly, that's so good. Like, when two whole people come together, Andrea, that's brilliant. When you're okay on your own and they're okay on your own, you want to be together, you don't need each other. I think that's the way to go. Anytime I've had friends who say, like, oh, my girlfriend completes me or my boyfriend completes me, I'm like, well, you're just two half people. You know, you're pretty screwed if it goes wrong because you're going to feel completely adrift. Whereas if you're whole on your own, I think you can be amazing with another whole person as well. So good luck, Andrea. I hope that all works well for you. Sandeep, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to wrap it up. What else did I have to talk about? It's just gone 10, hasn't it? I've talked about... Oh, the last thing. One thing me and Petch are thinking of doing this year, because last year we got so many questions about this, and I've also seen this week in our Facebook group a lot of questions around technical setup and stuff around self-tapes, lighting, backdrops, microphones, cameras, editing, ultimately really standing out when it comes to the tech stuff on your self-tapes. Because I don't care what anybody says. A lot of people are like, well, we just want to see you and hear you. But I'm like, yeah. But what's going to make you look at my tape with a bit more, you know, eagerness to press play is if at least the thumbnail looks like, you know, it just stands out. I'm popping off the backdrop. I don't mean like adding any special effects in. I just mean lighting it really well, you know, really sort of understanding the tech without spending thousands of pounds or anything like that. Petch wants to put together... And I'm like, I just need to gauge the demand on it before we put enough time into it. Because if I was going to do it, I'm going to do it really well, properly. Petch wants to put together a really in-depth self-tape course, effectively. That's not one of these self-tape challenges where you go away and do a self-tape. As in, like, we literally walk you through step by step on how to properly light a self-tape. And in different ways as well. So here's how we'd light it if it's a dramatic scene. Here's how we'd light it if it's just a regular procedural role. Here's how we'd light it if it's comedy. Take you through all the audio, take you through all of the, the camera options, and then also show you how to package it together, in editing software that's freely available without you spending loads and loads of money. But I just want to know if that one, ultimately, I'm going to probably put a survey out. I want to know if there's actual demand for that because, I never do things sort of by halves. I want to really do that. And then I might ask as well, in terms of like price points, what people will be prepared to spend on something like that. Because again, that'll just dictate on like, ultimately how much we spend on it. It is something that I'm not about making loads of profit on. I just don't want to not a charity. I don't want to pay Petch loads of money to go and do it and then go, okay, 2 people bought it and we didn't get our money back. So I'd just love to know. You can tweet me on that. You can let me know if you think that would be useful. Petch is really good. To give him his due, he's I've got so many teeth, sorry. His ability to light stuff is very, very good. He did a few free tutorials on Instagram, and I was like, "Whoa! Like this is great! Like genuinely, really, really good." It does mean that you end up having a few more lights when you're doing your self tape, so you would probably need, three, maybe 4, as opposed to just having like one softbox or something like that. But they're not super dear. It just means you're going to put a little bit more effort in, to light and stuff. So he's really, really good at that. So it's just things like that. And just, helping you clean up audio in a really quick way as well. There's just stuff that I do that I have a workflow when I'm doing self-tapes. I just know I can make them stand out technically a little bit better than not everyone else's, because I don't know what everyone's doing, but most self-tapes that at least I saw when I worked in casting. So let me know. Andrew says, yes, please. I was just about to buy a second light. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. Well, that's great. Definitely. Joe says, oh, my God. Yes, a self-tape. Count me in. Zoe says, hell yes. Regarding tech, says Katora tried to use We Audition the other day, and the lagging was terrible. Yeah. What those boys are doing, I'm a big fan of in terms of what they're trying to do. I don't know. I don't know if it's something I'm doing, but a lot of platforms that use the kind of streaming in browser that We Audition uses, and a few other webinar platforms as well that I've tried to use, because when I do the webinars on a Tuesday or Thursday night, I use Zoom, and I use Zoom because it's the most reliable, zero lag platform in terms of, there's so little what they call latency between me speaking and you hearing it. There's so little on Zoom that you can actually have a proper conversation. And if you're acting, you can really act and react to each other without talking over the end of someone's line or the beginning of someone else's line. I don't know what they use because it's all in browser technology. It's not an app or something like that for We Audition and for there's a thing called what's it called, Go Webinar or so. There's a few platforms anyway. Even Blue Jeans by a company called Horizon, huge tech company. But the lag, I don't know what it is, Kasura, between me speaking. I'd literally, it's like bad lip syncing. So I'd say one and it go up. So it'd all be like this. Two, and then my finger would go up. Three. It's never in sync. So I don't know if anyone's used We Audition and really loved it and it's worked for you, great. Let us know. Maybe, I don't know, you could try it in Firefox, the web browser, as opposed to Safari or Chrome. Sometimes stuff like that only works in Google Chrome. But I've experienced that myself. So I don't know, to be honest. But I think what they're doing with We Audition, I think it's a great idea. But I've also experienced that, not just with that platform, but lots of other platforms that use similar technology. That's why I've stuck to Zoom, really. Nick says self-tape course for the win. Terry says especially lighting when you don't have natural light. Yeah, well, this is definitely what we can do. Sandy says, Ross, just wanted to let you know I'm working a few hours. I'm doing school escorts. Job taking special needs kids to school. Love my... Oh, nice one, Sandy. That's wicked. Well, that's great little side hustle for your acting career. Giving back, doing a worthwhile job. Let's have a look. Andrea says £10 and pet strips. I would... I think we need more than £10 and I think Petch is going to want more to strip, Andrea. I don't know how Emery's fiance would feel about that. So yeah, we'll have a look. Kasura says may need to ask for a refund. Yeah, what is it? I don't know even how much it is. Kasura, what have you paid? What have you paid for We Audition? Because I know people can charge to read in for people on that platform, and that's their big draw to it. Earn money by reading in for other people. But I don't know if I don't know if that's a good enough reason to use the platform, to actually do your tapes. I honestly would probably rather just use Zoom. Get someone to read in, because obviously you're shooting the tape with your own camera at home. You're not using your webcam to shoot your tape, I would hope anyway. And you're only using Zoom or We Audition to get someone to actually read in. So you really don't want lag, because you don't want to be talking over each other. But I don't know how much it is. And the guest for this week, Zoe, I cannot tell you yet, because I'll just be honest with you, there's been a little bit of a mix-up with the schedule. Well, not a mix-up, actually. It's just someone's filming. It's a director who's filming a block that's now moved. So the options are... Oh, I don't know if I can tell you because I don't want to disappoint you. Guests that are coming up over the next few weeks. We've got Peter Hunt, head of Hollyoaks Casting, is coming back for a chat. Jason Wingard, an incredible director who did a lot of award-winning short films, who's now moved into TV directing, and he's directing Coronation Street. We've got Ruth Carney, who's the current director of Brassic Season 5. She's amazing. She just loves giving actors their first TV jobs as well. She's just such a positive soul. She's amazing. Danny Brocklehurst, who's the writer of Brassic, actually, one of the writers of Brassic, but he writes... he actually wrote the drama for the read-through that I was at today. He also, he just writes the biggest stuff out there, like The Stranger. What else has Danny written over the years? Just so many big shows. Danny's coming back to talk about actors, writing their own stuff ultimately, and how you go about that. He's not done a session with us for years. Who else have we got? We've got a member of the casting team from Louise Kiley's office. One of their shows, one of their films has just been nominated for an Oscar. Loads of stuff on the way, loads. So I just can't tell you who's going to be this Thursday, but somebody. And do you know what? I am going to go in a minute. One other thing I was thinking of talking about doing different things this year. We do for members something called Rapid Fire Friday. Every other Friday at 4:00 in the afternoon, members of Acts on This can jump on and they get a little bit of one-to-one time with me and Petch, where you can ask a question, you can just clarify something if you're not sure, if you're not confident about something, get a bit of info. And I'm aware that obviously that's 4:00 on a Friday. Now, a lot of actors work night shifts and stuff like that in restaurants and things. So a lot of people turn up to that. We might have 30, 40 people on one of those rapid fire sessions. But I'm aware that there's a lot of people who do day jobs as well. And I was thinking maybe it might only just be once a quarter. we do a longer version of that as one of our live calls, as one of our monthly live calls, just once a quarter, where we go, right, 2 hours rather than an hour. Everybody jumps on. And, you know, we do some one-to-one coaching, you know, specifically, you know, someone's got an issue, and I'm sure if they've got that issue and we can help them with it, it helps a lot of other people on that call. And that session would be recorded, because we don't record the Rapid Fire Friday sessions. So the advice that's given out on those, we can't share with other people. And I normally do that because I'm like, you know, some people might have like sensitive stuff and they might want to leave an agent, so I don't want to record that. So people would have to be aware, if they're asking questions like that, it is being recorded. So you might not want to ask those kind of questions, but there might be other questions that you're happy to be recorded that you can ask. So again, that's something that I'd like to know if people want to do, because it just gives people that extra. I get so many people wanting one-to-one coaching. I can't offer it. I have no time for it at all. But I could do it in a group setting like that once a quarter, you know, for 2 hours, even 2.5 hours. We could go from 7:30 till 10. So that's something, if people think, you know, it will be useful, I'd be happy to do. I'd be happy to do that as well. So just let us know. Oh, and Katora says $100 for the year on We Audition. Then approximately $30. Oh shit. Okay, that's quite expensive, isn't it? So $100 for the year, then approximately $30 for an hour for the reader. The selling point, she says, is there's always readers available at the last minute. Katura, I'm pretty certain if you just post in the Acts on This forum or the Acts on This Facebook group, I see it all the time. People, because there's 10,000 actors in there, people are pretty much available at the drop of a hat anyway in the group if you put a post up. I can always, as well, if you tag at Act on This TV in a tweet, I can always retweet that to like 22,000 people saying, you know, this Act on This member would, you know, need someone to read in on Zoom this afternoon. Anyone available? $100 plus $30 an hour. That's well more expensive than I thought it was. And if there's lag on it, no, I wouldn't do that. We could get you someone for free on Zoom, I'm sure, who's pretty decent. Well, everyone's decent in the Acts on This community. I'm sure we could. I'm sure we could do that. See how it goes. I'm not saying anything. See how it goes. Test it out again. But if there's loads of lag and it's unusable, then it's not fit for purpose. So, try it with a different browser, though, just in case it was the browser you were using. Should get Steve Hughes back. Did a workshop with him, says Josh. Talks about the improvised Casualty episode before Christmas, which was amazing. He's doing another block of Casualty soon, and said I'm on his radar. If you want Steve Hughes back, I could message him, mate, now. Get him back if people want that. He's a great director, Steve. Did a session with us probably 18 months ago. He's a great guy. Obsessed with Steve was obsessed with soundtracks for films, wasn't he? He's got like a crazy knowledge of soundtracks and composers for film. I'm sure that was Steve. His name on Twitter's Movie Goblin, I think. I'm pretty certain that was Steve. Let's have a look. Bobby says, I always wish I could have been around you when you were giving voiceover coaching. Yeah, it was a few years ago, but again, that's something that I don't know. Could maybe do a couple of one-off sessions in a studio this year where we do voiceover stuff. There's so much to do, so little time. Nice, but thanks everybody. I know we've run over tonight, but really appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here. I will keep everybody posted on what's going on this Thursday night. Something will be happening. We'll have a guest. Or maybe we'll do one of those in-depth like rapid fire sessions, but without the rapidness of it, where we can talk a little bit more in depth. Ultimately, you're going to get a great feature this Thursday, and then I will be updating the schedule properly for the rest of the month. Any day, really. I'm just juggling 3 guests, and I don't know who wants what date because someone's got to change. It's almost like arranging a casting. When I worked in casting, and you get your schedule done, and it's perfect, and you're about to put it out, and then an agent would phone you at 5 to 6 just as you're putting your coat on. They go, oh, I'm really sorry, like, you know, Larry can't make it tomorrow. And I'm like, right. So because he can't make it at 1, now what do I do? Because that means if I move him to 3, I've got to move Dave from 3 to 1. Like, and it's a bit like that. So I've got 3 people. I'm like, can you just bear with me while I try and figure out who we can fit in where so everything fits nicely. So I will let you know, but thanks for bearing with me, and it will be published. The schedule will be published any day. I think that's 48 hours anyway. So thank you. To end, I'm going to play this trailer with Daniel Edwards again, just for the people who might not have seen it yet. If there's one feature I want members of Acts on This to watch, it's this feature if you've not watched it already. And I will be doing, like I said before, a lot more podcasts like this where they're really in-depth, freaking real chats We're not talking about glossing over anything and pretending it's all sunshine and rainbows. These are like real in-depth chats. So the 2.5 hour version of this is in the members area. Go check it out. And I will be back very, very soon. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hugely appreciate it. Sorry for anything that cut out tonight. But that's Facebook, I'm afraid. I'm not taking any responsibility for it. That's not Vodafone's internet. Maybe it is. Right, I'm out of here. Love to you all. Have an amazing week. And just what I was talking about the success cycle before, just believe a little bit more in your potential. Take a little bit more action. You're going to get slightly better results than you've been getting so far, and you will hit that that level that's just your next level. It's just like I said before, it's just 2 millimeters above where you are right now. So let's at least by Thursday have reached that next level. Right, love to you all. I'll speak to you in a bit. Bye for now.
And she looked at me like I was the most despicable, disgusting thing that she'd ever seen. And she went, "You stupid big."
And the Emmy goes to Heartstopper!
Every single person from the LGBTQI plus community around the world who've taken this incredible show to heart. It gets better. We see you. Thank you so much. 17 years ago, I was a cocaine addict. Of course I was. I left school like an absolute mess. Came out of acting and I went into casting, and I've made a career for myself with my sobriety. So without the trauma, I couldn't have had the right. I'm going to grab this.
Obviously, there's loads of people like, listen, this is game changing. I want to be a part of it. I want to be in touch with Daniel's team, potentially be on the radar for any kind of casting. They don't even know who's in your team.
If you want me to take you seriously, I need to know that you understand how it works. I wish I could see more actors come into the casting room who are just happier.
I get so many emails from actors just questioning whether they should be with their agent.
They think that we don't deal with your agent. That's bullshit. It is hard. It is never, ever, ever, ever going to be easy. Enjoy the process. Otherwise, as I've said 1,000 times, why the fuck are you doing it? I can't bear the thought that people would think I'm a wanker.